Hi! Welcome to a new video. I'm Storm if you're new here, and today I'm just going to be doing some cyanotypes on wood, as it is an idea that I had in my previous project but I didn't end up doing it because of the lack of time and things like that. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you've probably seen this folder before. I flicked through it in a video. I'll probably put a card in now if you want to go and watch it, but I'll just show you what I'm trying to talk about. So in one of my previous projects I did this, so I want to try and do that on wood, but at the time I just needed to make a body of work that I could submit, so it turned out that I didn't have enough time to trial this. So I then bought some wood off of Etsy. So I'm going to coat this in the chemicals to produce a cyanotype. So in the next shot that you'll see me coating this. And then I'm going to put some of the acetate that I had printed for the cyanotypes that I've just shown you. And we're going to experiment in the garden with the UV rays, because the UV ray index has gone up between 1 and 2 recently. So I'm praying that tomorrow that'll be the case. So yeah, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. And when I ordered them, she gave me 4. So if the experiment goes wrong tomorrow, we can always try again. I'm hoping that it'll work, and I just want to experiment and show you how to do the cyanotype process, just so you have a better understanding what I'm on about when I talk about cyanotypes. I hope that gives you a bit of insight, and I will update you shortly. So I've made the lighting in the room a bit more friendly for the thing I will be doing. So I've set up a bit of cardboard. I've got all of my chemicals here. So the process for the chemical mixing is you do equal amounts of each of the mixtures. These two are empty, so these are the ones I pre-mixed. When you pre-mix these, you want to make sure that they're mixed with like filtered water, just because sometimes there is like chemicals in water which alter how they process. It doesn't really happen all the time, but it's just something that can happen, and it's just better to be safe than sorry. So I'm just gonna get these out. So there's 2 parts. So there's part A, I'll probably do a better close-up, and then there's part B. I'll put the words of each of those on the screen currently, because I can't pronounce how you do it properly, and I don't want to embarrass myself. I will just be mixing equal parts of both, but I did start doing, this is like the incorrect way. I usually use pipettes, but I've been using like a shot glass, and I'll mix both equal parts in, and then I'll pour it into here, just because sometimes it makes it a bit easier to have a lot of mixture in a short space of time. It does work the same, so don't stress too much. I'm going to pour a whole shot glass of that in, because I don't know how much the wood is going to take in. Some people do like to wear an apron with this and gloves. I would highly recommend it if you can. I've dyed that many of my clothes. I kind of just don't care at this point. So another shot, pour that into there. So now you've got a mixture of both. Put the lid on again. And then you put the sponge. So these usually come in the kits, and you just dip it in. You can buy replacements at Hobbycraft and things like that, so it's not the end of the world if you do end up misplacing it. So we'll just start coating this. And we will hope for the best. I'm just hoping that this will take well. I usually do this on fabric, so this is also a new experiment for me, so you're learning alongside me. Out. So I will just go get some watercolour paper, and I'm going to coat some of that so I can do experiments for another project I'm currently working on. If you did want to coat it on paper, I would highly recommend watercolour, just because watercolour isn't a thin paper and it can take more. So let's just place that down. We'll let this soak in a bit more. Yeah. So when you coat it on paper, it comes up this greeny colour, if you can see it, which is good because it shows that the chemicals have been mixed properly. I will coat this whole sheet, including the corners though, just because in my preference I don't like having the white borders. But yeah, there we go, that's one sheet coated. I don't know why that's lifting up, but oh well. Give it an equal coating. Crosshatch? Crosshatch, it's a technique which you use in drawing. So if you use that technique and to coat it, sometimes it just evenly coats it a lot better than usually how it is. So yeah, let's let that one dry as well. These two have curled up. I've got no clue why it's done that. Anyways, I've misjudged how much this would need. I will put some links in the bottom of where I find mine, if you do want to try this process. So I will leave it there and I will update you in the morning. When you're coating material, it's best to do it at night, especially if you're doing it at home, just because it gives it enough time to dry before you then take it outside and use it. Hi, good morning. I just wanted to show you how I've put the acetate onto the paper and onto the wood. The wood has dried slightly darker than the paper has, and I will just show you that now. But I'm hoping that it will work. We shall see though. So for the wood, it's quite dark, but I don't know whether that's normal. So I've put those on. I've taped them down just to make sure that it stays. For a contrast between how they both look, I've done these two. So that's how they're supposed to look before you expose them. I don't know what's happened with the wood ones, but they're not looking the best. And then for the last sheet of paper that I've coated, I bought mushrooms the other day. I've kept them, and I'm going to try and put them on top of the paper and do like a photogram on cyanotype paper and see how that turns out, just to explore different ideas. Oh, and for context, acetate is a see-through material which you can get printed professionally, so I will put a link to the place where I got mine done. They're like semi-cheap, but they are still kind of expensive, so pick wisely kind of thing. So I'm going to go outside and expose these. If I've missed any information that you want, just let me know below and I will help you out. So I will be bringing out the prints now, and I'll be putting them on this table to expose them for about an hour. Okie dokie. Let's place you there. So now the next task is to wash them. So we're going to move off the bits. So that's how it looks after the film has come off, the acetate. Hi! So I just want to go through the prints that I did outside. I think I overdid them slightly, so they are a bit darker than they normally are. I will show you an example of how they're supposed to look. I just misinterpreted the UV ray because I thought it was like around 1 to 2-ish. Apparently it was about 3, so I left them out for around about how I usually do, and they come out fine. Today I've misjudged it, so that's okay. I will show you what they're supposed to look like. For instance, this is one that I did on fabric, so you're supposed to be able to see like all of the texture. There we go. And then in contrast to that, that's how it turned out. So yeah, I did overcook this one because there's no texture in the tree at all. You can see the hand slightly, but yeah. And then for the other one as well, it's just a bit too dark. They've been outside for a bit too long, so it just didn't work. But the only thing that did kind of turn out really well is this one, which is the one that I had the mushrooms on. It works alongside the work that I've been doing currently. So this is like mushrooms that I've placed on the paper, and it makes it look like slightly like jellyfish, which I'm really enjoying. I do like the blue maybe slightly more than the black and white. And then as for the wood, it turned out how I thought it would. You can see like a hand there, but it just didn't go as well as I thought. Maybe you need to coat it with less, or I don't know, maybe I needed to sand it down. I will keep trying to experiment and figure that one out. And then same for this one. There wasn't much that showed up. There is like a little bit of a hand here, but yeah, they didn't turn out the best. But yeah, that is the cyanotype process. If you do it right, it'll turn out nice. So the best thing that you can do when you're doing a cyanotype, especially if you're unsure of the UV conditions and which ones you like, so do a test sheet. So you do like set intervals. So like this is what I do with a UV lamp, especially when I'm indoors, because I've got no perception of how long it's going to take. Usually I figured it out now, it's about 2 to 3 minutes indoors for a few of my prints. But yeah, it's just nice to have like a good like example of it. I do prefer printing on calico, which this is, but I thought I would test it on watercolour paper. I do like the results on watercolour paper, but I prefer the fluidity of fabric. So yeah, it's all to do with preference. I would really recommend it, and I'm kind of upset that this hasn't turned out the best, but it's an experimental technique and you can't always win them all, so it's okay. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed like this little bit of a video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in next week's video. Bye!